Welcome back to Cosmeholics Anonymous. I am your favorite baby mama bougie vintage, and today's video is what is today? Botox. Hey Bo, I'm watching one of your Botox and it's kind of pushed me to write you this email. I'm 22 and a final year student at a university studying to be a teacher. Well, good on you, girl. I'm from London and would consider myself very lucky with the upbringing I have had. I have 2 siblings and we were all raised by our amazing mother, but unfortunately in my first year of uni, so about 2 years ago, my mom fell ill and ended up losing her job, which resulted in us losing our family home. In a way, she sees it as a blessing in disguise, as she was unhappy for years, and this pushed her to start her business making really cool jewelry, but I think that's just her way of dealing with it. Anyway, my mom kept the information of us losing our home away from me, I guess in an effort not to worry me and my siblings. I was angry at first because I think if she would have told me, I would have been able to help or at least prevent it from getting this bad, but I get it. Here's my problem. It's okay if you don't have any advice. I just need someone to vent to. And for the most part, your responses to these kind of things do help people more than you'll ever know. I'm soon to graduate in May by the grace of God and take on my next steps in becoming an amazing teacher, but I'm scared and I'm anxious and I have nothing to go back to. My mom was staying with an aunt for a while, but one day my mom came home to this aunt going through her purse and stealing money. My mom decided to leave, and that was really that. Luckily, we still have our possessions currently stacked up on top of each other in a storage unit, so I'm glad we haven't completely lost everything. But essentially, we still don't have a proper roof over our head. This is where my mom has been staying for the last 4 to 5 months, and I feel really helpless at the moment. I'm in no position to help her. I've taken it upon myself to start saving for a deposit and help mom get a house, but I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Trying to find housing is much harder than you think with credit checks, references, etc. I'm kind of nervous about going through all the effort of applying for housing only to be turned away because my credit score is so low. That's another story for another time, LOL. I know there was a time where you struggled for housing in your shelter, etc. So I was wondering how you were able to find housing, if you were giving any assistance or if you could give any advice. I never got housing. Girl, I wish I got fucking housing. Housing, let me tell you guys about some housing in Toronto, okay? Housing in Toronto is litty. Well, depending on your situation, but there's a long waiting list for housing, and you don't get, if you don't have a severe situation, and by severe, I mean your baby daddy was busting your ass down, and you have children, you're not priority. You have to be able to prove that you lived with the person. You have to go to a shelter. You really just need a piece of mail. Like, to be honest, a piece of mail that proves that you live with the person. A police report's good, and housing you can get like that. And then you only pay $85 a damn month, and it's lit. And there's so many people on housing that do not need to be on housing in Toronto, which makes it unfair. But as hard as the shelter was, I knew it was necessary because my back was against the wall. I had nowhere else to go. There was nowhere else to turn to. I was tired of running back to the same old places and couch surfing, and you know, it just wasn't a fun time. It wasn't cool, and so the shelter was my last resort. But because I was working, it was easy for me to just be able to work and save my money for first and last so that I could get out of there. I had no intention. Like, when you go to the shelter and you meet the people there, they've been there for like years. There's people that have been there for years, and after a certain amount of time they kick you out because you're supposed to have a plan, and they make you meet with like counselors every week and do all kinds of shit, and like you're supposed to have a plan as to how you're getting out and blah 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 blah. But there's people in there that have mental issues that can't necessarily get out as quick as somebody like I can, and so they just leave them alone. But if you're in a shelter and you're not working, it's easy to get social assistance. It's always easy to get social assistance as long as you have a bank account and can prove that you have no income coming in. But they do definitely sit down with you and help you look for places, and they show you places on the map that you can apply to that aren't necessary, that you could have rent based off of your income. And co-ops are great places to live for stuff like that. Like if you, I don't know how we're not in the same part of the world. So you're in the UK, I'm over here in Canada. It's not the same. So it's hard for me to tell you. I don't know how the system works where you are, but it's just a matter of doing research. When I was in the shelter, I knew nothing. I knew that I was going to the shelter and that was it. I didn't know where it was, what kind of people were there, I didn't know about the staff. Like I knew nothing about it. I just knew that I needed somewhere to stay, and I put my big girl panties on and I went. And so when it comes to you, you just have to do the research. Google it. It's all there. Go to like a welfare office and they'll help you with that stuff too. Call different shelters and see which one's the right fit for your family, or if it's just you going, whoever, or your mom, whatever the case may be, and take it from there. Once you're in the shelter and you write down all the questions you have and they'll help you. I can't really help you because I don't know what the system is where you're from, but they're definitely very helpful when you are in a shelter, especially if they see potential in you, especially if they know that you're just a normal person. Like they deal with you differently. Like they dealt with me differently because I was normal. I was just somebody that was down on my luck, and I had a job and I had a goal. And they knew I wasn't going to be there for long, so they treated me differently versus somebody that maybe has an addiction problem, or somebody that needed a different kind of help than I did. If they see potential in you and they see that you just are not having the best of luck, they'll help you to get out of the shelter because they don't want to see you there. They're like, you know, when it's like a thing of like when you're leaving, they're like, don't ever let me see you in here again, kind of thing, you know? You just need to do some research and you'll be able to figure it out. This one, I'm 15 and my father's a deadbeat. I've been searching for a father for the longest. I started cutting myself. I fell into depression for about 3 months, and the only thing that saved me was a man who said he would be my father. Soon I started living with him and his wife, and it was fine, but soon he left the house because of problems. I told him I moved down here so you can help me because my dad left me, and he told me, oh well, I'm sorry. Soon I moved back with my mom. He told me to move with him. This situation sounds weird already. I don't even know if I should continue reading it because it just sounds like a whole crock of shit, but I'm going to continue. She met someone. He moved in 7 months later. My mom started leaving the house a lot, so it was just me and him. One day, I told him that I was dealing with sexual feelings because I was 14. I told him everything. Shake my head. He told me he liked older women when he was my age, and that after he slept with the older woman, he'd felt better. So soon, we almost had sex, but I was scared, and we stopped. This is not okay. I don't... So, the last email that I just read was so disturbing to me and so disgusting that I'm not uploading it. I literally had to stop and just read, and just write back to the person because the situation is so messed up and it's so disgusting, and it made me cry, and I don't even want that energy. Like I wanted to stop reading it, but at the same time I was just like, if this is real, if this is somebody that genuinely needs my help, I need to respond to this person. But the basis of the email is that somebody was taken advantage of by a father figure, their mother's now husband, and these men in this world are disgusting. They are sick, and she's a baby. It started when she was 14. She was already having daddy issues, and she made the mistake of opening up to her, who is now her stepfather. She made the mistake of opening up to him about her personal problems that she's having and her frustrations, if you know what I mean. And he took advantage of her from that moment, that point, and he took advantage of her in the worst possible way. And then he would be mean to her, and she would be mean to him, and her mom would be upset because her mom didn't know, or her mom still doesn't know, why she was being rude to her boyfriend at the time. And then they got married recently, but he's now taken her virginity, and it's just too much. And the person in the email, the person that wrote the email, seemed very confused. She seemed very silly, which is, for lack of a better word, I don't know what word to use, naive. Very naive in the sense that in one breath, she's telling me about what they've been doing. But in another breath, she's wants him to be her father. And I'm just like, I'm mind blown, because I'm just like, somebody that you want to be your father, you don't want to be doing these things with. You can't. And I told her exactly what she needs to do. I told her she needs to, first of all, tell her mom. They need to contact the police, because this is a grown-ass man. And whether or not this little girl has been saying, okay, cool, yeah, let's do this, it didn't start off like that. And she obviously, at this point, her mental is confused, because this man has taken advantage of her. And when she came to him for advice, I guess advice she should have gone to her mom for, when she came to him for advice when she was 14, instead of giving her proper advice, he was giving her oral. And as a grown person, he knew better. So now she's confused, because this is the only pleasure that she's ever gotten. And it's not her real father. It's just a grown man. It's not her real father. So in that sense, it's not as wrong as if it were her real father. But because this is a grown man, and this is somebody that's supposed to be her mother's spouse, it's very wrong. And we're not going to sugarcoat it. They definitely need to contact the police, because he is, I don't even know how old he is. I don't give a damn. He's way older than her. She's only 15 now. And this started when she was 14. And now she's confused, and she doesn't know what to do. And I don't really know how to help people in these situations. Like, when you guys message me these things, I'm just like, my head's like, it's too much. This is a part of the reason why I don't do Botox as often as I used to, because sometimes you guys send me stuff and I'm just like, is this real? But that email really broke my heart just now, and I don't know. I just wanted to, I don't know. I needed to, it was one of those emails that I had to respond, like, via email. I couldn't, just because she might never see this, so I wanted to respond to that and let her know that I saw it and tell her what she needs to do, because that conversation with her mom is definitely one that she's gonna have regardless. You cannot keep something like that from your parent. And I told her, if you tell your mom this and she does not believe you, show her this email. Show her this email. The date is there. I'm only replying to you now. Yeah, very sad stuff. But I think that's enough for tonight. I love you all, and I will definitely see you in the next one.